So let us go through this readme section so that you understand what is Lambda and how we can use it. So I will just read through these lines. With AWS Lambda, you can run code without provisioning or managing servers. You pay only for the compute time that you consume. There's no charge when your code isn't running. So you are only allowed to pay for execution. So you pay only per execution you pay. The Lambda function handler is the method in your function code that processes events. When your function is invoked, Lambda runs the handler method. Your function runs until the handler returns a response, exits, or times out. So it is just like a, so say for instance in a Python, it is just like a function. So whenever you trigger the function, it will process the logic, whatever we have written inside it. Okay, and the syntax is like this. So there's a function, and so two arguments can be passed inside this handler name. The first one is event, the second is context. We'll know more about this. So yeah, so I think these are the things. So key takeaway, so I will just read it through once we are done with this practice. Okay, so let me first show you how to create a Lambda function. So I hope everyone has a AWS account. You can just sign in to your AWS account. Just go to this Lambda and create a new function. And here we will just author from scratch. So yeah, you can explore other options as well. But yeah, just to make it simple, I will just try to create a function and just go through the examples that I have for this video. You can give any name here. So test, I have given a test name. So, yeah, so test1 2. Runtime is basically the code in which you want to write the function. So I have used Python, so I can select Python here, and that's it. You can just create the function. You're good to go. So I have already created a Lambda function. So you can see this function, and here you can just add your code and see. And here, if you go in this tab, you can just write it down your Lambda function, and you can test it as well. So let me go back to my GitHub repo and open lambda underscore code. So let me just copy and paste it. I hope everyone is familiar with Python code. If not, you have to learn Python in order to write a lambda function. Okay, so what I will do is I will just write it on my, I have pasted this code. So what this code does it, whenever a lambda function is triggered, uh, it will this example is just to show what is event and what is context. So yeah, let me deploy it first. Yeah, so whenever you make a changes to the code, every time you need to deploy, and then only you can test it and run the test button here. So as you can see the response, right? So whatever response I have given here, so it is basically returning whatever I have added here in this block. So status code 200, you can see here status code 200, body, event, and context printed successfully. So this is all what the end user will see. Okay, and also I have just printed this thing, which will uh, you can check it here in the logs. In the logs, you can see what has been printed. So this is basically the event what we have passed, right? And yeah, before that I also wanted to show what we are passing in the event. So this is the test, right? So this is basically JSON. You can see this is all which we are passing in the event argument, okay, which is key 1, key 2, key 3, 1, 2, 5, right? This all is printed here. So this thing is the event, and the context is basically about the lambda, about the function, right? It is about the runtime function. So what it basically prints is, as you can see, what information it has. You can see it has all this memory limit, function version, right? Even the function name also would be there. Yeah, you can see this is a function name. So this is all the data about the runtime function, lambda function, right? Okay, so now you got the idea what is event and what is context. Now you can play around with event, right? So whenever the user hits the lambda function, it usually passes the events, and you can just pick those events, and you can just uh, put your logic here, what to do with the event, and you can just print it out. So to know more, you can just copy paste this code. I will do that and deploy. So what I wanted to show is that how you can play around with this event, right? So here what I did was I have added a logic. So if the event key is 1, then the status code will return as 500, else it will be 200. So as you know, right, the key 1 is 1 only. I will show you again. The value of key 1 is 1. So now the expected result would be 500. The status code should be 500, right? So earlier it was 200, as you can see. Now since I've added this logic that if the key 1 value is 1, then it should return 500 as a status code. Okay, let me again test it. Yeah, so now you can see status code is 500. So this is how you can work with events. So whenever the user hits the lambda function, you can just uh, grab the event, and you can just do some manipulation, modification with that event, and give it back to the user. Yeah, I hope you got some understanding about the lambda function. Thank you all.